Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Voices That Heal Advocates in Action. This is your girl Jams, joining you, of course, live. I am very excited for this evening's conversation. For those who weren't here last week, I decided that I would do a weekly segment on advocates doing what we do best, and that is raising awareness, that is hosting events, that is getting out there and sharing our stories so that people understand that lung cancer is an anyone disease and not a smoker's disease. So, this is week 2 of my, I guess you can call it installment of this segment. And tonight I have 2 wonderful ladies with me who I know very well, and I'm very excited. I'm hoping this doesn't end up being a long conversation because I know how we get when we're together. But we also have I have a back-to-back tonight, and I have an 8 p.m. So hopefully you stay locked from 7 p.m. all the way through till the 8 p.m. conversation is over. But I'm going to bring these ladies to the stage and welcome them to the show. So first and foremost, we're bringing on Colette Smith. And then we're going to bring on Donna Thompson. So good evening, ladies. Welcome to the show. And thanks for being with me.
Good evening. And thanks for having us.
Yes. Hi. Thanks for having us.
All right, ladies, we're going to behave ourselves first and foremost as best we can. But everyone knows my story. Everyone knows, kind of where I'm coming from. But why don't you guys give just a real quick synopsis of your journey with lung cancer? And then we'll jump into what you guys have going on and what ways we can support you and what ways we can sort of help you raise awareness for the advocacy that you're doing. So we'll go in alphabetical order, and so that would be Colette first. So I'm going to let you have the stage while you share your story.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Colette Smith. I am from the Boogie Down Bronx.
Hey.
And I live here with my husband and my son who abandoned us to go to school. I am a 10-year survivor. I'm in my 11th year. Can you believe that? I'm in my 11th year of survivorship. Yay! I am living with an upper left lobectomy and stage 1A, EGFR exon 20. I'm told that's the bad guy, but I'm a bad girl too. And what am I doing this month? I kind of did something over the summer that extended past the summer. And it's because I wanted to quiet my anxious mind. I started gardening under New York City street tree beds. And from that, an organization called Healing the Bronx was born. Healing is improving health outcomes, education, arts, and love. I believe those are all things that have helped me to heal, and I'm seeing where it's helping the community. So we are getting out and doing some gardening on the 19th of this month so that we'll have some spring blooms. That is the 19th of this month. Later this week, I'm headed down to Mount Sinai. There's a lung cancer awareness fair there, and I'm told that there may be someone from our local news station who wants to have a word with me, with some of the clinicians there at Mount Sinai. And then beyond that, in December, I am having a community wellness awareness and wellness event. It's called The Care We Deserve. And we're talking about lung cancer awareness, what it is, clinical trials, what they are, and how we as a community can benefit from clinical trials. And in brief, that's what I'm doing.
I mean, that's quite a bit if we're being honest. So I want to dive into the planting, though, because for someone, I don't have a green thumb. I'm surprised my animals are alive. Like, I kill plants. I could kill a cactus. I'm literally less nurturing than the Arizona desert. But anyway, that being said, how did you sort of get into the idea of fixing the planters, and how did that come about? Because I mean, most folks would walk down the Brooklyn street and not pay any attention. So what made you say, no, I want to do something different and I want to fix this up?
I wanted something to kind of quiet my mind, and I love flowers. I don't know that I have a green thumb.
If they're living, you're working.
they're living because I do a lot of reading and research, and it was a way to keep the dog poop out of the beds. Nothing against the dogs. It's the owners who need to pick up the poop. And once I started beautifying the tree beds, the poop slowly got less and less. I bet you if I did a study, it would show that there's been some significant decrease in poop, but in my mind there is. And then the amazing thing is I have 4 specific tree beds that are dedicated to the cancers that impact our community disproportionately: lung, colorectal, breast, and prostate. And my husband happens to be a prostate cancer survivor too. So, and what I did, I slipped QR codes under each tree bed, and the education piece just came into play, and everybody
Amazing.
took it and ran with it.
We got to do a study on the poop to flower ratio for
Yep,
Brooklyn's neighborhoods.
yep.
That's amazing. And so for the Mount Sinai event, how did you get involved with that? Do you actually treat at Mount Sinai, or was that something that came from a connection or something?
That's where I get my care from, Mount Sinai. And I work with their community advisory board at Mount Sinai, an amazing group who has given me like the latitude to do all of this and to support me. And I kept asking for them, come to the Bronx, come over, support me, see what I'm doing over here. They finally showed up this past summer. And I was introduced to their PR team, and that's how it started.
Okay.
You know, yeah, that's how it started, and we'll see what happens.
So how can folks support you? Where can we find your flower beds? And, what kind of support can we provide for the advocacy work that you're doing in the community right now?
I would like folks to take a look at my social media. I have this campaign going called Dear USPSTF. That's the organization that creates screening guidelines. And I want folks to jump in on that conversation and write a quick note to that agency. That's the agency. And we want them to pay attention, because the screening guidelines do not include everyone. It only currently includes folks who have certain risks. And why is screening tied to a behavior? Mm-hmm. Like, why? I think that's archaic, inhumane, and all of the bad things. That's not good for early diagnosis of lung cancer. So my social media is called Healing the Bronx. You can connect with me there. You can see my tree beds. You can see some of the events that I've been doing for Lung Cancer Awareness Month and beyond and before. And that's where you can find that campaign, Dare USPSTF.
I am absolutely going to jump on that campaign. I stay on my soapbox about the screening criteria, because we're sitting in this room right now with stage 4 and we're not candidates for screening. So it's like, obviously your screening criteria is missing some folks, and so I'm constantly arguing about how valid the screening criteria is for lung cancer. But no, I absolutely love that. I will definitely jump on that bandwagon. And folks, I'm going to share both of these ladies' social media on the video itself. So you'll have in the information, they'll be their social media, so you can follow it that way in case you miss it, or if you're driving or something like that, for those folks that are watching online right now. So, and then one last thing, Colette, before, we turn over to Donna here, how are you doing health-wise? Like, how's everything going with your diagnosis?
Health-wise, I am doing well. I go back for my next scan in January. And it's always a scary time, as you know. As far as my mental health, though, Jamie, I must say that I'm working on getting it together.
Yeah.
In less than a week, 2 of my sisters in survivorship, we spoke, and we're all feeling very afraid. We got some stuff going on. We need some support in that respect as well. I'm scared too.
Yeah, I hear you. It's respectable for you to even say that, but folks, you heard her say it. So hit her social media and give her all that love and support that she needs. Just some words of encouragement, a little bit of love. It goes a very long way for us patients to let us know that we're in your heart and in your mind. So definitely, like I said, I'll share their social media on this video so you guys have it. please go over there, support her campaigns, and send her some inspirational love and encouragement to help her get through these tough times.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Donna, you are up. Tell us about yourself, and then we'll jump into some of the advocacy work that you have going on.
Sure. So interesting, Colette and I are here together. So I too am in my 11th year of survivorship. I was diagnosed October 2015. I also had surgery to remove the upper right lobe of my right lung, upper lobe, and then I had surgery a few years later to remove some of the lower right lobe. So I have about a third of my right lung, which takes me into some of my initiatives that I'm working on. And I will say that, let me go back and say this. In my case, I've had EGFR 19 is the mutation I've had, but I've had 3 different diagnoses. And the EGFR mutation, the biomarker testing was only done the second time. We couldn't do any the third time because thankfully, and this is part of my platform, it's early enough that it was too small to biopsy. And so we just, for the first time, I had radiation this past summer. So stable now. And for me, it kind of ties into some of my initiatives for this month. Honestly, the first thing I want to say is a lot of times we feel so much pressure to do so many things during this month when we're always advocating, we're always, in programming and just kind of getting the word out. And I think the best thing we can do is just live, right? Show people how we're living. We're living, we have beautiful times, we have beautiful laughs, we have such good times, and we still carry this huge, heavy, bag. I don't even want to call it a burden. I'm gonna call it a bag, right? That we carry around with us. So for me, one of the things that made a difference in my life is taking control of my fitness and my health back in 2016. So it's been about 9 years since I started that journey. And so for this month, one of the, so I have 2 things going on. One is I'm part of a research team developing a program called, I'm gonna look at it, Habits, Healthy Habits, Move, Live, Thrive. And it's for cancer survivors, all cancers, primarily women, I believe it's for women. So it's for African-American women who are surviving cancer. And it's pretty much like an online coach for nutrition, for exercise. And I know for a fact that's what helps me, in terms of from the mental standpoint. And just, again, like Colette and I both talked about losing a significant portion of our lung. And so to be able to exercise and move to regain that lung capacity back that was lost, whenever, I do testing, they're telling me they can't even tell that I've lost so much of my lung. And I really know that that's because I've taken the time to, just exercise. And I don't think about it as exercising to lose weight or to get in shape, although those are benefits. But a lot of it is for our mental health, right? A lot of it is for, we're on, and this time I'm not on any medication, but we're on these medications and we have certain things that we need to eat. And, and so just kind of keeping myself moving. So a lot of what I'm doing this month is around fitness. I'm not really doing any other things. Usually around November, I have about 2 or 3 media opportunities with American Lung Association. I just decided to be quiet this month and just be. And so I have podcasts that I've recorded that I've never shared. I have other programs I've done I've never shared. And so I think what I'm going to do this month is share some of those things. Oh, and also, here I go, I'm not doing anything right. Also, Fox Chase Cancer Center, I'm on their, I guess, their donation campaign. So they send out letters donating and they feature a patient. And so I participated in that. I didn't get a letter yet, but someone I work with received it and came over to me, and she actually let me have the letter. And so it was really nice to just kind of see my story in print going around. And so that will go into hundreds of thousands of households. I'm also in another interview. They're working on some other article and they asked me for a couple of quotes. I gave that to them as well. So that's through Fox Chase Cancer Center. And this week I'll be with the American Lung Association for their annual lung cancer survivorship dinner. This is the 3rd year. And for the first 2 years, I participated on a panel. And this year, I'm just going to sit there and be a participant. So I'm feeling really free this year in my advocacy of just showing up, being present, and just showing what this life is like, despite this, frustrating, challenging disease that we have.
Yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
all that stuff sounds really great. And I think what you said is absolutely awesome. I think us advocates, we get, like you said, so caught up in this idea that like it's Lung Cancer Awareness Month. We got to do something every single day to raise awareness. But every day that we live is raising awareness. Like
Mhm.
honestly, just us existing and living with this disease, it has to be enough sometimes because like so we're just tired, and that for
Absolutely.
us, I know it's hard to digest and it's hard for us to accept that as advocacy, but sometimes us just living, breathing, and living our lives, even over and above having this disease, is all we have to do to advocate. And so I think we just need to, as cancer patients, we need to give ourselves a little more grace,
Yes,
allow
yes.
ourselves a little more room to breathe, literally and figuratively. Because we are doing a lot. And then when you look at us collectively as a group, as I bring folks on this show and we talk about all the stuff we're doing, folks look at us and be like, how do you have the energy? And you're like, that's a good question. Honestly, I'm tired.
Seriously. And let's not add that we're all working full time for the most part.
Right.
We have our careers, so we're managing work, we're managing, just the
Life.
opportunities that come our way, life, appointments, So
Mhm.
that's another thing. Every time we have these appointments, and just for me, this time of year, it just kind of so happens that my month is also Lung Cancer Awareness Month. So
Yep.
sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to do anything, you know? My
Yeah.
surgery was the Monday after Thanksgiving. And so it's kind of like everything is aligned and I'm grateful. And it gives me opportunity to just be so incredibly grateful to still be here, to be healthy, to actually be healthier than I was before cancer. And that's what I need people to see, right? You can have a better life. Let's not wait until something happens to do these things, but it's all about what you put out there. And I do think that some of the work we're doing, it does help keep us moving, right? Keep
Mhm.
life feels normal. I think it may be too much for some people who are probably close to us. They're like, why are you always talking about this cancer? But I talk about it so you can see resilience. So you can see someone just living life as normal as possible. And so yeah, that's what we're doing.
It's funny that you said that, Donna. I was speaking to my oldest of my children earlier, and she was saying something about talking with me later. I said, well, I'm going to be on a podcast later. She's like, oh my God, lung cancer and what now? What are you relating lung cancer to? And she says, Mom, I'm not joking. She says, I'm not making fun of lung cancer. It's just you're always doing something surrounding it. And like you said, that's because I want folks to know. I want this to be on folks' radar so that, they can get tested early and live long and happy and healthy lives. That's
Yeah,
what it's all about.
And
absolutely.
and just real quick, I want to say something too. With Colette and I, it's interesting that we're both on here today and we're both on the other side of 10 years, right? And so, which means for the most part, especially for myself, I think I became involved maybe a year and a half to 2 years after diagnosis. So it's been like 8 years of constantly doing things and it has helped. And sometimes, so it's nice to see, I mean, nice being relative, but nice to see the community has grown. There's so many different voices, right? But also, I don't think any of us picture someone that looks like any of us when we first got that diagnosis. I think Jamie, what are you like at 8 years? So we're talking a long time and so much has changed. So just having this platform, we didn't have this platform, what, a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And so it's evolving. Like we're the faces in this community. And hopefully that inspires hope. And the advocacy is, like you said, showing up and just living. And people see us. We have people in our group all the time and they're new. And it's really sad that we have, ladies within their first year, stage 4, and it's still happening. And so
Yep.
sometimes when I feel like, oh, it's saturated, like maybe I'm doing too much, but we're still meeting people who are diagnosed at stage 4 in their early 40s, late 30s.
Yep.
And so, but at least they have a place to come to see life and not think is a death sentence, and to see we can have an abundant life, quite frankly. So that's it. That's my soapbox.
Yeah. And I agree. And I think, the life of an advocate for lung cancer, like Colette, your story is hilarious because I feel the same way. Folks are like, what are you talking about now? What are you doing now? And it's like it ebbs and flows. There's some times where I feel like I'm doing a lot of stuff and I'm like, man, I'm stretched a little thin right now. And then there's times where it's quiet on the horizon and I'm like, am I not doing enough? Like, but you look at, like you said, you're all 10 plus year survivors. I'm breathing down year number 7/8. And like for us, I mean, folks have heard our stories. We've told our stories on so many platforms. We've all lost count at this point. So
Seriously.
there, you do sometimes like being the, it's crazy to say, but like being the OGs in this community, like sometimes you have to step aside and let new and other voices share their story and pick up the mantle where you left off so they can start running a little crazy and doing advocacy, and you can relax, not relax, but you can kind
Yeah.
of lean more into the things that are more impactful for you as a survivor now, because now at this point we're late stage survivors. And
Yes.
like some of the platforms that we all talk about, like obviously I'm screening and biomarker testing. That's my big thing, you know, and like we all have these niches that we fill, and allowing newer survivors to get and share their story allows us to focus more on those things in ways that we can be more impactful and move the needle forward for those things, you know, while also still raising awareness that, hey, this is still happening. We still got, you know, brand new people coming in that have stories that are similar to ours. Like you would think after hearing our story, things would change. And so,
Yeah.
like you said, I don't think we're doing too much until we stop hearing stories that are like ours, you know, till we stop hearing similar things. So for what do I have going on this week? Oh gosh. Besides shows, I have 2 shows tonight, which is great. But also this weekend coming up, I have a presentation at my church, which is very big. They have a very large congregation. And so it's kind of, it's interesting. Like I'm not secretive about my diagnosis, but like it's weird to share it with my entire church, you know, like now everybody's going to know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm out. It's like everybody knows now. And so it just changes the scope of things. And normally when you first share with a lot of people about your diagnosis, that's when things ramp up. Cause now all of a sudden people want to talk to you. They want to share, they want to do this, they want to do that. So I'm ready for things to gear up after I share at church this Sunday. I've also got the opportunity to share at the bar that I play pool at every week. So they've offered to allow me to do a 50-50 raffle on Thursday, the 13th, which is impactful because that's biomarker testing day. So I plan to make a conversation and speech about how biomarker testing has saved my life and allow people to donate. And then I'm going to donate that money to a lung cancer organization. Haven't figured out which one yet. Would love it to be the BWLCC, but you know, folks in this room know.
Yes, we need that. We
Yeah.
have too much for it. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what's going on there. And then just continuing to have these conversations and, you know, ongoing platforms for people like you guys to share your story and share what you have going on all throughout the month. So yeah, and consistently policing the tables at these commissaries. I went to both
I
of
was just
them.
about to ask you about that. How is that going? Yeah,
It's
see?
going good. So
Yeah.
the one commissary, nobody had really filled out any ribbons. And so I'm like, maybe they don't know that that's what you're supposed to do. So I went and I filled out all of our names on ribbons and I put them on the
Oh,
tree
nice.
just to
Oh,
get it
nice.
started. Like, hey,
Oh,
look, this
nice,
is what you're
nice.
supposed to do. But all of the pins that I had a bunch of lung cancer pins, a bunch of bracelets. I ordered a ton of bracelets. I can't get my sleeve down right now, but whatever. Ton of bracelets and some pins, and they were all gone on both tables. So
Nice.
people are taking the information, they're taking the pamphlets. The one on Fort Belvoir had a ton of people who signed ribbons and stuff like that. And so it's impactful and people are identifying with the table. And so for me, you know, that made me smile just to see like I came in and stuff was gone, you know. So it's like I
Right.
think my heart would have been a little bit more upset if I came in and everything was still there. Like, man, are they even looking at this table? But you know, I look at a ransacked table and I say, this is great. That means people are taking the information
Right.
and they're bringing it back to their community. And so
Right.
for that,
They're
I'm
paying attention.
yeah, you know, like we're getting eyes on it. And so that's for me, that's a big deal. And so I'm grateful for that. And I'll keep doing that throughout the month. But yeah,
Can I
that's it
comment
for
on
me.
something? You just said something, and you talked about it's not like, so we're not private. It's not a secret. Not private. I
Yeah.
just don't really bring it up in different communities. And so even for me, it's still to this day, I go, you know, I work for an organization. We have 4 locations, and I'll go into one, and people are like, "Oh, I saw your commercial. I saw you on TV." Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so or like the young lady who received the you know, the mailing. Is this our Donna? You know, and she brought it in. That's kind of, so I feel like in some regards, I like that approach of people just kind of like finding out. And then if they have questions, they can come. But I think when someone comes to me, they're always like, I saw you on TV. And I'm like, I don't know. Did you? You know, and I make light of it. And so I just think it's amazing too. I know it's uncomfortable in the beginning, you know, at church, but like that's word of mouth. like that's going to go out. You do so many things that we talked about. Like now people know us. You know, when the young Shanika said, "Oh yeah, I kind of Googled someone in Philly, and you came up," and I'm like, "You Googled me?"
More
So
importantly, they were like, "Do you know this survivor from Philadelphia?" And I'm
that
like,
was
"It's probably Donna." They sent me a picture and it's
hilarious.
you, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I know Donna."
Like, do I? Right? So we
Right? I'm
love to
like, she's
see.
like one of my closest friends. What are we talking about?
Yes,
Um,
I love that for us, that the
yeah,
community, and that sometimes our story, speaks for ourselves. Sometimes I feel a little uncomfortable wearing certain things. So like I haven't, there are some people at my church I know, but I haven't worn, like I wanted to wear the Got Long sweatshirt, but I'm like, it's gonna cause attention. And so that's where I get a little bit nervous sometimes. It's like I like it better when people, hey, I think I saw you on TV. And then I kind of just walk in with it. But I do want to do something within my church community, like what Hill did with like a wellness, some type of
yeah,
ministry. But you know how it is, when you bring up things, that means you're first. So if anybody from there watching, they're like, "Oh, we heard you say it."
right. So that means you must want to spearhead the organ, like the whole thing. You're like, "No, okay, yeah." And it's
Just a little
it's this
piece.
thing. You're not really. It's not a secret. You know what I mean? But like nobody at my pool hall besides my team really knows about my diagnosis. Now I'm sharing my diagnosis with all of the teams in the APA in the greater Maryland area, and so it's like, okay, like I just don't want people looking at me different, treating me different, and I don't want
That's,
everyone coming up to me, how are you
That's
doing,
it.
how are you feeling? That drives me nuts, you know what I
but
mean?
no,
So
listen, when you're telling them, like however many years they've known you, they would have
yeah,
never known unless you told them. And
Mhm.
like that's what we
yep,
lean into, right? And that's another thing I wanted to say for you, when we get off of here. A lot of times we're posting things like, and I said this to Colette earlier, please don't sad face, carrying hands emoji me when I post stuff. No, because I'm so good. Like, this is my
carrying
lane. So
emoji.
please don't. Like, I don't
Yeah,
like the sad stuff. I'm like, no, I don't want
Like,
pity.
give
Do
me a
not
heart
pity me.
instead.
right,
Yeah,
right, give me
don't
a high
pity me.
five or something,
Yeah.
yeah,
We
it's
don't.
High five,
We
love, no
definitely
pity.
don't want folks feeling sorry for us.
yeah,
We're living. In
right,
fact, many of us are probably living our best lives because there's so much we want to accomplish and we
yep.
want to get it
One
done. So
thousand percent.
That's
Yes.
so true. Like, I feel like that's so correct because I feel like there's so many goals that I had as a younger person that I'm like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And like, I feel like old me was probably a little lazy. Like, I'm not going to
Mhm,
get this done. There's no way I'm going to
mhm.
put the work in to get this done. But there's something about that motivator that's like, hey,
Yep,
you may not ever, you might want to get started now. That really
yep.
motivates you to jump in and get stuff done. And like, it's funny because I'm like, would I have gotten this done if I didn't have this diagnosis? I wonder.
I
So.
I know.
think I
Wonder.
would have, like you said, I was laid back and lazy.
Right,
Now
got
Because
time,
there's no
all the time in the
opportunity.
world.
I
Because it's like, where's the opportunity? Where's the
Yep,
door? Right. I remember being younger, stating, or not. I mean, I was a mom, but I did picture that I would be on Capitol Hill, but I envisioned me fighting for like mental health, awareness, education, and erasing that stigma.
yeah.
Having living and growing up with depression for so many years. But I was on Capitol Hill, but it was for lung cancer, right? And so I'm like, to kind of see that play out, I wouldn't have. It's opened up
Yeah,
doors, or not even opened. It's opened the doors, but it's giving me the courage to walk through, and that's like something to leave.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
giving me the courage to just stand up and do and be. And it's not, and we're not doing this, everyone, because we're like counting down the clock of how much time we have left. It's like, hey, here's this thing. It's natural. We've all found one another, and we're helping, making a difference.
yep,
And so when the day comes where I'm like, okay, I really want to sit down. I'm still here. I'm alive, but I'm just sitting down. Then we have a
right.
new crew of people, coming in and holding the torch. And that's what it's about. Just
Yeah.
kind of living.
You
And
said
We
like the
got to
work that
fight
we
for
do
us.
now, the work that we're doing now is laying the foundation for these new survivors who are coming in because the resources that we stumbled into accidentally just
Yes.
looking for things to help us out are now the things that we kick over to them immediately, like, hey, you need this, go here, you need that, go there. Like, these are all things that we had to trial by fire find, just because we were living our lives with this and navigating this journey. And now at this point, we've created these platforms, we've created these pathways for people to make a little bit of money on the side doing surveys, sharing their opinions and their experiences living with cancer, and doing all of these different surveys and these interviews and talking about certain things that affect our communities. We've laid these pathways and sort of laid these foundation bricks, and people before us who have passed have done the same for us. We look at some of these other survivors who, like, we're standing on their shoulders, like their time ended, but we're taking up the torch for them to keep it moving forward. And so when you look at what you're doing in the lens of passing the torch and creating those foundations for other survivors, it's like it helps motivate you to run and make this stuff happen, because it's like, I can get this ball started and somebody can keep it rolling for us, so we can be bigger and bigger and we can snowball this. And that's something that I think is really beautiful. And, it kind of eases some of the pain of losing the folks that we love when we think about it that way. Like, yeah, you may have lost your battle, or, your time may have come, but like, we're going to continue doing your work, and we're going to continue doing the stuff that you were doing to raise that awareness so that your legacy continues on in your absence, and I think that's a really powerful statement.
It is.
It is. Absolutely is. Donna, you said something earlier about finding each other. And we were talking earlier today, Donna and I, and it feels so safe and comforting to have a space where there are people that look like me. We're all women of color. We're all Black women. And we come together once a month and we share. It doesn't even have to be sharing around anything in the space of lung cancer. We just talk. We talk once a month. We've gone on our retreat. And by the way, that retreat has even pushed me even more to grow even more. I don't know if anyone feels similarly, like if that's been your experience after the retreat. Like, I feel more empowered to go out and just do more for my community. And having a space where I feel safe, like, I can be quiet in those meetings if I want to. I can be quiet in our chats and jump in when I need to. And it's a space where I feel safe. Like when I met you ladies, and it feels like we've been friends forever.
Forever.
Forever. We went to a summit, to the Hope Summit, and I walked up to one of the attendees and I says, "Where are the people that look like me?" And she brought me over, and that was it.
I remember Donna running up and hugging me.
I know, but even thinking about that, when you talk about advocacy, like how we were just drawn and like you're finding your people. I mean, there's just so many. I always say that this diagnosis gave me so much more, way more than it has taken from me. Right? It has really given me, appreciate life, paying attention to certain things. I've talked about the mental health and battling different types of variations of depression, and it's still there. But to mimic what you said earlier, Jamie, like the battle for that mental, like what helps me sometimes is you have to fight for a life that sometimes you're not even sure you want it. So it's like a huge challenge, right?
Yeah.
And so now when I'm fighting, it's intentional, because it's like, wait a minute, you had to fight to live. So you're going to let that happen, let that go. We're going to deal with it. Try to keep a therapist, psychotherapist, psychiatrist, have my medication, got my, church, faith, all the things, because it takes all of that collectively to be able to deal with all of this. We live our life in segments. Like, I know we're tested like every 3 months, right? So it's like, here we go again.
Yep.
Scan time. And so it's the journey that we have, and it's like making the most out of that and gleaning from it, and also taking something joyful away from it. So if I had to go through this, I mean, I can't think of a better group of ladies that have gone through this. And as far as that retreat, we need to get back on that. The reason you feel empowered, because we walked away with so much, like so many great ideas and so much work. So we need to really kind of do something.
Get back to it.
The videos, like the photos, it's just so powerful.
Yeah, they were. They really were, man. I was thinking about it the other day, like, it's been a year since we did that, and time flew, honestly. I was like, man, it's been a year? Like, are you sure? Like, just craziness.
And so much has happened within that year. We've grown in people. So, we'll do it again really soon. I mean, the way time flies, it probably is when we're at Hill in April, but but we,
Right.
It's just important. It's just really important to connect. Nice. But I'm gonna get to New York though. I need to check your date for your event that's coming up in December and
December
see if
13th, Saturday, December 13th. I was saying to Donna also earlier, when we get together and we're leaving, I'm sad.
Yeah.
It's bittersweet. I am sad. I was like,
I miss y'all.
Yes, I know. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's like I'm missing my boyfriend.
I hear people, but I ain't gonna lie though. Like we got a little spoiled, Jamie and I, because I think we'd have been together. Like we had that weekend.
Right.
Then when I was in DC, you came. Then when I was sick early this year, you came. So I'm like, we got a little couple of visits this year. So yeah. So now it's like, okay, it's like, it was like crickets. I'm like, no. So I'm gonna try my best to get over there in December, seeing what the weather looks like. Take a train, not driving.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because we've evolved. Like what started off as a support group just to lend ears and hearts and things like that to the folks that need it in the community that look like us, has become friendship. Like we're actually friends with each other. That's why we miss each other when we leave, and why we're sad to depart, and why we, when we come together, the vibes are just always right, because we, like, more than just going through this stupid journey, like this stupid cancer journey. Like we're just friends. Like we genuinely like each other as people. And that's, I think, the biggest part is, like, even if I didn't have cancer, I would sneak into our group and be friends with y'all anyway.
Right. Right.
Be like, why is she here? She doesn't even go here. Like,
it's funny.
But no, I love you guys, and I appreciate you being with me tonight. Too. Is there anything else you want to share? Anything that you forgot to tell the audience, or any like final words before we close for the evening?
1000%. Go Birds.
Oh gosh. Ending it now. Ending it
now. I want to say that it's important to advocate for yourself. That is very important. If something doesn't feel right, you get out there, you get with your primary care physician. And if that person is not serving you well, you find someone who's going to listen, and you push for the care that you deserve. You deserve it. So I just want to implore anyone who's listening to let that be the thing that you walk away with tonight.
Yep.
And they kind of work for us. I mean,
Yeah, they do work for us.
Yeah, it's true. So, we pay you.
Yes, participate, develop that relationship. So if something is off, you can have that conversation. I remember my oncologist, after everything that happened to me this year, he was like, "Are you mad at me?" And I was like, "I'm mad at everyone.
Mad at the world."
I'm like angry. And then he's like, "Because I can take it." And then, but I realized but I so appreciated that, and I know why he asked me that question. So a few weeks later, I was like, "Yeah, I was." I was like, "But I'm okay now." He was like, "Yeah, I could," And so he makes his mission. So just develop that, that relationship and ask those questions. You go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And my advice is always the same that it always is. Listen to your body, and what is par for you and what's not right. So if you're not getting the answers that you need, go somewhere else and find them, but never stop listening to what your body is trying to tell you, because I think all of us can relate. There are symptoms and side effects that we all ignored a little bit too long. And probably should have connected the dots, but we didn't know. And now hindsight is 2020. Yeah, we didn't have a blueprint. We didn't have somebody sharing this kind of information. You know what I mean? So I try to make sure I share that whenever I can. But the other thing is, it's Lung Cancer Awareness Month, folks. So if you do nothing else this month, just get out and support something lung cancer related. Share a story, donate somewhere, sign a ribbon, carry a ribbon, just do something to move the needle forward a little bit if you can. And we appreciate whatever you do. So
we definitely do.
Yes. On that note, folks, make sure you follow the Heal Collaborative on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube as well to see additional episodes. Again, don't go too far. I'll be back in about 20 minutes with another episode. So make sure you come right back here. This one's going to be about diet and nutrition, which I know myself, I need this conversation real bad. So it should be a good conversation indeed, but make sure you guys keep it locked. I'll be back again next week with another set of advocates who are making a difference. I appreciate you ladies so much for your time tonight, and I love you. And we'll see you next time on Voices.
We love you and appreciate you. We appreciate you for this platform right here, giving us. Okay.
Absolutely.
Right, have a great night, y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.